Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Calavera Beach. It feels weird to say that because it's been a long time since I uploaded a Calavera Beach video. I think it's been about 9 months now. So for those who are new to the channel, which is many of you, Calavera Beach is a series I started a while back where I'm basically building a city in coastal California. I'm specifically basing it off of Laguna Beach, which is a city in southern Orange County, and it's really different from a lot of the stuff around it. So Laguna Beach is really surrounded by a lot of development, like master plan cities, stuff like that, and crazy suburban sprawl. And then there's Laguna Beach, which is sort of this paradise on the coastline that's absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love Laguna Beach, and houses are insanely expensive there, but it's a really beautiful place, and I really wanted to capture the feel of it in City Skylines. So that's what this series is. And today we're going to be beginning by placing some houses that were actually custom made for this series since the last episode was made. So these were made by Lijo, who's made some amazing Southern Californian houses already on the workshop, and these are just the newest addition to those. And they're really amazing houses, and I highly recommend that if you're building anything in Southern California, or even in any coastal or I guess hilly area, check them out. They're really cool houses, and they might work for your city. Basically, you've got the main level, which is either sunken down or at ground level, and then all the other levels below that just sort of are below the main level rather than above, which means I can basically have them overlooking the ocean, and they're just beautiful. So that's what we're doing here, placing all of these houses. Because if you look at the neighborhoods that I'm specifically basing this build off of, the houses aren't really like, on each block, like you won't have a house with a house behind it. It's just the house overlooking the water, then a street behind that house, thus no space for another house behind these houses that we're placing right here. And I mean, yeah, like the road layout is, it really follows the contours of the hills, because these hills are really steep. They're not like it's not a smooth plane, let's just say that. So that really requires a lot of interesting road planning, and there isn't much development, I guess, like on top of these cliffs. So it's very sparse, but it exists, and very expensive houses are found in these areas. But yeah, so I went and I changed the color correction I'm using in the map here. So I've been using different relight color corrections over time. I'm now using something that somewhat approximates what $2.20 uses in Springwood, just because that's like it works best with the Springwood theme, or I guess I could say used in Springwood, because that series is over now. But oh god, that's so sad to admit. But yeah, no, I mean, it's basically just relight cool with a bunch of different settings on the relight menu, and that gives it a nice sort of, I guess, cool but balanced California look, or something approximating that. So that's what I've got here in terms of color correction. I know I've been messing around with that color correction a lot, but I think I'm going to stick with this because it works really well for the cliff sides that we work on in this episode. I think you'll like it. But yeah, what else? I mean, in terms of the cliff detailing, we're going to be using the same sort of stuff we used in the last episode a long time ago, if you remember that, which is sort of the stuff you see on the right of the screen right there. But we're going to actually be using some of these newer rocks from the workshop. These are absolutely awesome. I'm so happy these came out. These are by Gray Flame, and they are absolutely glorious. I believe it's just a bunch of new rocks and a bunch of different rocks from the workshop and vanilla rocks that are sort of, you know, the texture's been changed, and it works a lot better for this sort of coastal arid theme, because there are all these different colors you can download of these rocks. So I definitely recommend checking them out. They're definitely like a game changer, and I have been having a lot of fun using them, and they're going to completely transform what I'm able to do in this series especially. I've actually placed some of the mossy ones in Columbia City, which, by the way, the next video is going to be New Windsor, and then after that, we should probably have a Columbia City video. So a nice diverse array of videos in the channel. I know you guys have been waiting for Columbia City for a while, so hopefully you're able to get that soon. I haven't actually recorded that episode yet, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, like I've been using some of the mossy versions of this in these rocks rather in Columbia City, and they are just awesome. These arid rocks are absolutely glorious as well. Like the color works perfectly for these Californian hillsides, and I'm so happy these came out in the workshop. But yeah, so here we're starting to place some vegetation down. So I'm using these different mountain grasses by Padelmo and a bunch of different other vegetation by Padelmo mostly. I don't know if I use anything else here. I think I use some of the generic trees, which I think Lost Gecko made those. And then mostly it's just Padelmo stuff. Like Padelmo's made some really awesome stuff for arid climates. I mean, a lot of the stuff he's made is for Australia, which is very, very similar to California in a lot of ways. So I've been able to use a lot of that here, and just these mountain grasses, sort of combining them together with these rocks, allows me to create a really realistic landscape. I mean, a lot of the mountains in the background still aren't particularly detailed. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to go about doing that. I'm just trying to go one step at a time, because I've realized this is a really ambitious project, Calavera Beach, and there's a lot I want to redo, which we'll actually talk about in the live play today, sort of what I want to redo on the map, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not quite that happy with anymore, and that I think I could do better if I do it over again and make it look a lot better, more like Laguna. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stuff I'm going to keep, like obviously the high school. I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's very similar to Laguna. I mean, well, like some of the stuff in the downtown area, but like that cliff edge community that we made a couple of episodes ago with the mansions, like those areas are going to stay. And we will have some like ridiculous sized mansions in addition to these pretty large but like small lot mansions here. Which, I mean, a lot of these houses are large. A lot of them are not even that large. Like a lot of them are like 1,500 square foot houses that we're placing right now, or maybe 2,000 at the like maximum, at least some of them. And those houses are probably like $3 or $4 million, which is pretty crazy. Like go on Laguna Beach Zillow. It's pretty insane. Like I think a two bedroom apartment I saw on there, or no, I saw like a 1-bedroom apartment, to buy it for like $750. Yeah, like $750,000. Like this place is crazy, crazy housing prices, but it's like paradise on earth. It's beautiful. And I actually plan on going to Laguna again soon and getting some footage and some photos of the area for you guys, because I actually live pretty close by, and I could just take the bus in because it sort of goes along the same road as where I drive in, and then just take the bus in like with my bike and just bike around, because my bike's got like decent gearing. I could just bike up hills and stuff, even my commuter bike, and like, I don't know, just going to Laguna and going around with my camera and getting some videos and definitely some photos of Laguna just for reference as we continue, because there's a lot of stuff that I mean, like I'm not gonna be living closer to an area I'm working on in a project maybe ever than I am to Laguna right now. Like I'm not right next to it, but like I'm close enough, like compared to I don't live in the Pacific Northwest, so I can't go get, you know, a video of Seattle for my Columbia City series, although I might be in Seattle over the summer, so maybe I can do that. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, but like I definitely can't get footage for New Windsor. It's like, point is, I sort of want to take advantage of this and maybe get some footage for or photos as reference for Calavera Beach here, because that might be of use, and it'll at least give you guys a better idea of sort of what I'm basing this off of. So I'm like sort of combining all these rocks here on this like cliff edge by this house. And then I'm surrounding it by the mountain grass. And then a lot of the time I have to transition these big rocks out sort of into, like, with smaller rocks, like you see me using right here, like smaller boulders. And then I think I copy paste them a lot, and then I use the move it feature to, like, make them go to ground level. And that works pretty well, because you can't just place all these big rocks that just have nothing around them. There've got to be some, like, smaller rocks transitioning out, if that makes sense. And yeah, I'm just adding all sorts of different, mostly, I think, actually, no. This is literally just all Padelmo vegetation here. Or no, wait, is it? Yeah, so far, basically all Padelmo vegetation. And that's going pretty well. Like, it combines really well with those arid rocks that I'm using. And I'm doing a little bit of detailing near the houses, but not too much. Like, I don't actually detail these houses too much. Like, one thing you'll notice in the neighborhood that I'm basing this off of, and in Laguna as a whole, is you've got these big, like, you can see distinctly where people's lots are, because they landscape those lots in certain ways. I'm not going to be doing that to the same extent as it is in Laguna, especially for the houses that are, like, directly on the cliff edges. Because, I mean, that isn't necessarily how it is everywhere. Like, I don't need to base it specifically off, like, it doesn't have to be, like, a perfect replication of Laguna. And, you know, I mean, a lot of places might restrict people from messing with their backyards for environmental reasons or whatever. So, like, you don't even see that everywhere. It's just Laguna, and I've seen that in a bunch of areas in OC as well, generally. But, I mean, yeah, like, I'm doing some detailing here. Like, I'm using some of these non-Padelmo vegetation, some, like, older vegetation from the workshop, these bushes, which are, like, more tropical bushes, some palm trees from Mr. Mason. I'm trying to go a little bit lighter on the palms. I figure up here, like, this development is not new, but newer than a lot of the stuff down by the beach, and like, a lot of the time these palm trees are, like, definitely not native species. So adding them in, like, lower quantities up here, obviously, like, they exist, but, like, adding them in lower quantities up on the hills might make a little bit of sense. Yeah, I mean, you can see that I am just sort of making distinct backyards here. Not necessarily backyards that people will use and go into, but just backyards that there's, like, landscaping in and stuff like that. And then a lot of the time these houses, like, clip at the front. I just cover that up with bushes and stuff like that. Like, it's not too hard. And I'm actually trying to add these, like, ploppable, or not ploppable pavement, like the pavement theme decals to make the driveways to go directly out into the road onto the street. But yeah, I mean, just generally the aesthetic of this is pretty cool. Like, we don't build a enormous area in this episode. I honestly just wanted to get an idea for, like, how these houses work, because I actually tried to record this episode, like, months and months ago, and then I just didn't end up succeeding. But I figured I'd go back in and finally do that, because I was missing this series, and I really still am. Like, I want to do more with it, but, like, I'm happy I was able to go in and see how these houses work and, like, really get to use them. And just Lijo, amazing job with these. Like, there's nothing else like this in the workshop, and I don't think there ever will be. And this will completely transform what I'm able to do in this series. Like, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to get to this, like, earlier. But Calavera Beach does take a long time to produce one of these videos, because it's, like, more technical and detailed than other stuff. But nonetheless, we have made a Calavera Beach episode finally. So let's hop in game. I'm going to show you the areas that we're going to remove in future episodes and replace and stuff like that. So let's hop in game. Alrighty, folks, we're in game. Let's take a look at what we just built. So this is probably my favorite part of Calavera Beach so far, especially because I'm probably going to be removing a bunch of the other stuff. So let's just quickly take a look at Calavera Beach as a whole, because I know it's been like 9 months since the last video. So there are a bunch of different areas within the city, many of which I'm actually going to end up removing as we expand. This area is not going to get removed. I like how this turned out. I especially like this area over here, although I definitely want to revamp a lot of the cliff edges with some of the newer rocks that came out in the workshop. But we've got like a bunch of cool mansions here on the cliff edges and some suburbs over here, and it generally, like, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty realistic for what I'm going for. However, there's a bunch of stuff like over this way where it doesn't quite look like I want it to. So I might end up removing a bunch of this in the future. Right now I'm just focusing on expanding outwards, but a lot of that and then a lot of the actual commercial development doesn't look quite realistic enough for me. So we'll see how I end up changing that over time. But for now, we are going to just be working on stuff in the hills here and then on the shoreline. So in the hills, we've got these beautiful, beautiful houses that Lijo made for the series, which are just glorious. And Lijo, just like, you did such an amazing job on these, and I've been basically waiting to use them for just such a long time. It takes a while to make a Calavera Beach video, so I just haven't been working on Calavera Beach. But now that I am again, I am really happy to use these, and you can check these out in the workshop. Just look up Laguna, you should be able to find them. And they look really cool. They are exactly what I'm going for, because basically what you need with these houses is you need the first... Ooh, this is blurry. Let's turn off Chico mod. There we go. You need this like sort of first story that's like either sunken or at ground level, like a ranch house sort of thing. But mostly you just need like garage doors at street level, and then below that, when you go to, like over here, most of the stories are sort of sunken down, and that's what I needed, and nothing like that existed in the workshop. So, but now we've got that with these houses, and they're just glorious. Like, they look amazing. It looks a lot better than the stuff I built over here. Like this, I'm probably gonna end up maybe removing, or at least a lot of it. Like this, I won't remove because this looks pretty cool. But like a lot of this, I might end up removing just because that looks way better. It looks a lot more like complete and realistic. And then look at these rocks. Like that looks so cool. I'm really happy these came out in the workshop because they're gonna make this series like a lot easier to make as we move forward. I love this formation right here. Like it looks so cool. And I'm gonna go pretty overboard with rocks in this series. Like, we've got so much work to do here. This map is not very detailed, but I'm just going like one step at a time, if that makes sense. And I mean, yeah, like this is totally photorealistic right here. Like this could be a photo. I would believe that. It looks amazing, and yeah, I mean, this is like sort of what it looks like in relation to the rest of the city. Like we're gonna probably have the hill extend down to like here, and then have some residential blocks up in this area over here. We've got the high school over here. I'm gonna replace this baseball field with a different one from the workshop that came out like after I placed this, because this grass is like way too green. We're gonna keep the track field over here, and then I mean I like this high school. I think it came out pretty good, so we're not gonna do anything to that. Like once again, this core area doesn't exactly look as, it doesn't capture the vibe of Laguna. And now that I've got these houses, I think I can probably use them in areas like this pretty effectively to just make it look more realistic, or more like Laguna. And I am definitely looking forward to that. Like being able to place, say, those houses that I had over there in... Like here, I'll show you what I've got in mind, basically. So say we built like just a block right here. And this end of the block was sort of risen up a little bit. And we make that even, and then it's like, it's a hill, because that's what Laguna's like. What I'd do is I'd go and grab the, here, let's just look up Licho, because Licho's got some other stuff I want to show you. So I'd place like the Laguna homes on areas like this, not like that, stuff like that, right? And then I mean, obviously we'd get the terraforming to work, right? But then you'd use homes like this right here, on, ooh, I don't want that to mess with the terrain. Yeah, like in areas like this, to do that. And I mean, I'd make the blocks a little bit smaller, but the point is, like, it would look sort of better than having the blocks look more like this. In most areas, at least. Like that looks, I mean, imagine that detailed. Looks more realistic for what I'm going for, I guess. So basically the suburbs and the commercial like core are probably going to be revamped as we go along. Like this is, I want this to really capture the vibe of Laguna. And it doesn't quite do that yet. Like this area really doesn't capture the vibe of Laguna. Like this is definitely going to have to go. And we're going to do a bunch of experimentation to figure out like what specifically to do here. I mean, I think one main thing is I'm going to reduce the variety of buildings I use. And it's mostly going to be, once again, these like Legio low residential buildings. Like right here. Like these buildings and maybe some of the these, but yeah, because I feel like these are a lot more uniformly realistic for what I'm going for. Like, and a lot of the textures on like this building here, for example, don't quite work for me. Like the texture of that roof, and also like these roofs are way too red. Like the amount of red roofs I've got way too many of them. Like this texturing is not quite it for me, for what I want at least. I mean, I'd keep stuff like this maybe. Like that's not quite working for me. This will have a couple of these houses, but just generally like, a lot of the stuff that I've placed, I want to just revamp it because like I'd rather have one of the Legio houses than this one right here. Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just like the roofs are too red. And I think placing the Legio houses would just make this look a lot better. So we'll see. That's definitely a while from now. But I just want to make sure the aesthetic of the series looks pretty good. I do like this area right here, this commercial strip. Although I think I'd definitely revamp like sort of the planters because those are not quite right. And then the back lot area. I might even like remove this road right here and just have this be a park back here or something like that. Like a big park. That could be cool. But the point... lag. Okay, yeah. The point is I want to... Yeah, like just revamp the way the city looks a little bit. Because a lot of this doesn't look that much like Laguna to me. And like, I've just sort of been thinking about how I'm going to revamp it. And... like we're gonna have a lot more of these houses right here, these sort of Art Deco apartments, because there are a lot of these sort of in the core of Laguna, and like just generally maybe expanding the commercial core into some of the places where the residential core or the residential area is right now. I don't know. We'll be thinking about it, and I'll get back to you, and we'll continue to build. I mean, maybe the next video we build like part of the canyon or something like that. We also have to do a bunch of terraforming. I want to terraform this so that these mountain or these crests here sort of subside. So it's like this is sort of like a state park or something, but then there's no more room for houses to expand into, because theoretically the houses could expand all the way up here if we just kept it connected like this. I don't want to do that because in Laguna you've got this very narrow area where you're able to expand. So we're gonna keep it that way as well. But I mean, yeah, that's basically it for the video. Like, hopefully you all enjoyed. I definitely did. I am probably gonna, like, return to New Windsor for the next video, because I feel like building McMansions in the suburbs for some reason, and just being depressed about it, but we'll do that. Probably the next video will be New Windsor. That's my current plan, at least. We'll see. But Calavera Beach is definitely very much back, hopefully, and I will... be once again keeping you updated on what I decide to do in this series in terms of expansion, in terms of building style, stuff like that. And I definitely like your input for like what you'd like me to build in this series. If you've got some inspiration, like specific spots in Laguna that you want me to build, or I don't know, stuff like that, definitely let me know in the comments. Yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. It really does help out a ton. Lets me know. Oh God, voice crack. It's like I'm 12 again. Yeah, it lets me know that you enjoyed the video, and it helps the video in the YouTube algorithm. And what else? You can subscribe if you're new around here. Don't miss any Calavera Beach videos. Definitely recommend that. You could follow me on Twitter. That's in the description. Follow me on Instagram. And then if you want to support what I do here, definitely go over to Patreon. You can support me there. You can get access to the save game and fly around here. I'm getting like 30 FPS right now, so... Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna last forever, but Calavera Beach is definitely a lot of fun to explore. I mean, maybe you could build some stuff that you might want me to build in the series and, show it to me. Stuff like that. You get access to the save game over there. You could also get videos early for just $1 a month. And I mean, yeah, like lots of benefits over there, and it just helps support the channel. So Patreon in the description. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you all enjoyed and enjoy the cinematics, and I will see you in the next episode.